Coming up on Lawmakers. Senators set a deadline for the DMV Proof of Insurance database. The ACLU joins the legal case over Senate districts. And the House argues over whether school visitors should be required by law to sign in.
Live from Atlanta, this is Lawmakers for Friday, February 1st. Here are your hosts, Susan Hoffman and Gerald Bryant.
Good evening, everyone. Also on tonight's broadcast, we're going to have our weekend wrap-up of Capitol News.
And Wendy Lawson continues her series of reports on how the budget is affecting state agencies.
And in the House today, along with proposed bills, a proposal of marriage. But our lead story, the proof of insurance bill.
The state Senate voted today to require the Department of Motor Vehicle Safety to have its proof of auto insurance database ready by July 1st of this year. It was supposed to be up and running by now and replace those wallet cards as proof of insurance. That didn't happen, and Senator Tim Golden spoke for a House bill that would have extended the deadline to next year.
This bill very simply gives till February 1st, 2003, the insurance card will remain as proof of insurance. It gives the newly created six-month-old Department of Motor Vehicles the time to get the database up and running, and we're extending it till February 1st of 2003 for them to get that up and running. We need to get this bill to the governor. It passed the House 166 to nothing, and I ask that we do the same and move this bill forward.
Can you tell us why we're extending this when last session we allocated or they set aside funds to implement this?
Well, Senator, from the 17th, you'll recall you and I served on a subcommittee that reviewed this piece of legislation extensively in 1999 and again in 2000. And if you recall, we had some concerns about how they'd get the database up and running. Why the previous department prior to motor vehicles, for them being merged, why they were not able to get it up and running, I'm not sure.
Senator Robert Lamute said he wasn't urging senators to vote against the bill, that using insurance cards was better than no system at all. But Lamute said there was no reason for the ongoing delay in creating the database.
In many of your districts, in my district, people are paying substantially higher insurance rates every single month. Now, when an individual chooses to ignore the law and then comes back 2 years later and says, it's the computers. It's always the computer's fault. And you know something? People hide behind this lie. And all these individuals in the legislature say, oh my gosh, it's all those computer people. You know those computer people. I get scared of computers. It must be a complicated issue, so give them $300,000 more and give them another year. The problem is that they're lying to you.
Senator George Hook said he agreed that lawmakers had been let down by bureaucratic delays, but argued that it was still important to pass the bill.
However, if you don't pass this thing, you're going to hurt some innocent folks out there that are riding around, that need a card in their car, that are going around on, some of them on dirt roads this afternoon, or some of them traveling, and they need that proof of insurance. If they feel like it takes another year, I personally regret very much, as the sponsor of the bill, that it's taken this long. Where the fault rests, I won't pass that judgment.
Senator Bob Gould had a compromise amendment. He said, why not shorten the deadline for the Department of Motor Vehicle Safety to get the proof of insurance database online?
And my amendment merely moves it to July 1 rather than to take the next year. July 1, 2002, that gives them about 4.5 or 5 months to accomplish the task. I think that would be sufficient.
Senator Gould's amendment won by a vote of 45-3. House Bill 994 passed as amended and goes back to the House. Again, the Gould amendment would require the database to be up by July 1st of this year.
The American Civil Liberties Union has joined those challenging the state's reapportionment plans. And Wandi Lawson is at the Capitol with more about the latest round of these legal motions. And Wandi.
Well, Susan, attorneys for the ACLU filed a friend of the court brief in federal court yesterday on behalf of minority plaintiffs who are challenging redistricting plans in their areas. Now, this comes on the heels of a decision by the federal court to allow 4 black plaintiffs to protest the racial makeups of the 2nd, 12th, and 26th districts. The latest brief adds the 15th and 22nd 2nd Senate districts to the dispute. Now today we asked lawmakers to respond to this latest action. Senate Reapportionment Chair Senator Tom Golden said, "Let's wait and see. Let the judicial process work its way through. We'll abide by what the court decides." Reapportionment Vice Chair Senator Robert Brown told us that the action was not anticipated, but that the facts remain the same and there is no special weight. On the other hand, the minority party looked at the action as a small victory. Senate Minority Leader Eric Johnson said this brings in a respected civil rights organization. Now, the matter goes to federal court on Monday morning, and according to the State Attorney General, Thurbert Baker, the closing arguments will be held by February 11th. Reporting from the Capitol, I'm Wandy Lawson for Lawmakers.
On what legal grounds, Wandy, did the ACLU file this brief?
Well, you know, I spoke with the lead ACLU attorney. His name is Lachlan McDonald. He's in court in Columbia, South Carolina today, and he told me that the challenges come based on the state's significant history of racial classification, and that they're using examples dating all the way back to the 18th century and extending forward to the 1960s and 70s.
Okay, thanks very much, Wandy.
In other news, keeping your kids safe by keeping intruders out is the focus of House Bill 161. This was legislation introduced last year by Representative Gail Bugner. Today it came before the House for a vote, and lawmakers Jamie Coran is standing by in the House chamber with more on that story. Jamie.
Well, J.L., Representative Buckner says this bill is going to protect both teachers and students against anyone who's not supposed to be in area schools. Now, she also mentioned an incident that happened in her school district, saying after that she has realized you never really know who's walking around in your child's school.
Where a man was found wandering the hall when the resource officer discussed the situation, why his presence there. He could not explain his presence in the school. The man was arrested. A background check showed the man to be a convicted child molester. When the case was presented before the judge had to throw the case out because the man was not asked to leave the school.
This piece of legislation would protect against anyone disrupting, loitering, or trespassing at a public school. The bill makes it a law that visitors must first sign in at the school office. Representative Buckner says there will be some exceptions to this law, but that would only include authorized personnel.
This piece of legislation will make it law that a person must sign in with the school officials and state their reason for being at the school.
Now, there will be some exceptions to this bill that will include emergency personnel, school officials, and volunteers. Reporting from the Capitol, I'm Jamie Coran, Lawmakers.
Okay, Jamie, when all was said and done, what was the outcome of today's debate?
Well, Gerald, there wasn't a vote of yes or no. Actually, what happened was, after several questions from the floor, Speaker Murphy said that he wanted to table this issue until Monday, saying that would probably give everyone enough time to discuss the bill.
Okay, thank you very much, Jamie.
Two Georgia lawmakers are featured on the latest edition of Georgia Public Television's Georgia Week in Review. Republican Senator Phil Gingrey is a hopeful in the 11th District congressional race. Democrat Senator Greg Heck is running in the 13th congressional district. Host Bill Nigut asked Senator Heck if President George Bush's popularity would make it tough for Democratic candidates in Georgia.
I think what President Bush is doing is smart, and I think it's good for the country. I think what President Bush is saying is, we have a unified agenda against terrorism. We have a unified agenda for national security. And I think what the President is showing is that we can all come together on important issues that really are more important than petty politics. I don't think he's going to make it difficult on Democrats or necessarily more successful Republicans. What I think he's going to say is America's united, like Alexis said, and I think that's the key message that we all need to preach, and I think it's important. In the events of 9/11, we remember how firemen and policemen and other community volunteers of every party and every race and every creed and every religion came together and said safety and human life is a lot more important than petty politics.
Bill asked Senator Gingrey if President Bush's emphasis on unity would make it hard for Democrats to form a message that would resonate with Georgia voters.
As Greg was pointing out, and Alexa stated as well, we're not looking at Republican or Democratic children. We're not looking at Republican or Democratic citizens in regard to homeland security. I think it was a great message that President Bush gave, coming to the city of Atlanta and speaking at the Booker T. Washington High School, a historic place, even though he only got 16 votes out of that precinct, out of, I think, 16, out of 1,600. I don't think that he is looking to get more votes necessarily from that precinct, but it was a very good bipartisan message, and that's what we need in Washington. And quite honestly, that's what we need in the state of Georgia. And I commend him for that, and I was just thrilled to see Republicans and Democrats alike, leadership in the state as well as in Washington there at the school, and it was a great day for America.
Joining Bill on the program is Atlanta Daily World editor Alexis Scott. Georgia Week in Review airs tonight at midnight and again on Sunday at 1 in the afternoon.
The state Senate today passed a bill that would allow DNA testing to prove that an heir is biologically related to someone who has passed away. Here's Senator Michael Meyer von Bremen to explain House Bill 130.
What this legislation does is it allows DNA sampling of the decedent to compare if that controversy arises. The legislation provides that you must have a petition and an order must be submitted by the court approving the petition. You must set out the factual basis for a reasonable belief that the party in interest is related to the decedent. At that point, the court conducts a hearing. They hear from experts as to the reason for this. Then the decedent DNA sample is taken if the court approves the order. And first it's not taken with internment, but if it cannot be done without internment, then it allows for internment to be taken or to take place. The tester then submits a report to be reviewed by the appropriate court to determine relationship, and at that point the decision is made by the court. It's important legislation for those rare occasions where the heirs cannot be determined in a manner other than in the past, just word of mouth.
House Bill 130 passed the Senate by a vote of 49-0. Having passed both houses, it's headed to Governor Barnes.
Medicaid coverage is one of the issues lawmakers are considering as they hone the budget. And Wandy Lawson explains why many state employees are vying for Medicaid coverage.
The decision to schedule a doctor's visit. For thousands of uninsured Georgians, it can be a dilemma. And among the uninsured, state employees who earn low salaries.
We have a lot of state employees who are members of the union who work in low-paying jobs under $25,000 a year, and paying for health insurance is very costly for them. And the family plan PPO membership is $139 a month, and for families earning $25,000 supporting 2 and 3 children, they can't afford that.
Last year, the legislature agreed to broaden Medicaid eligibility rules to cover many of those employees. But the money to do so was frozen by Governor Barnes when the state tax collections began dropping, and he has not recommended restoring the money.
That was based on a recommendation that we made to the governor, that the governor then made to the legislature, and the legislature funded. Those funds, of course, were frozen as a result of the economic downturn, and have since been made a part of the governor's recommendation to be taken out of the appropriation for this year. Now, having said that, because it was our proposal initially, we certainly support the fact that there is a need out there, and that there are state employees and other individuals who could be served well were this funding to go forward.
This year, Medicaid supporters are urging the legislature to extend Medicaid benefits to families who earn up to 150% of the poverty level. For a family of 4, that would be about $27,000. Representative Nan Orrock says she's confident lawmakers will accept the plan.
I think you'd have to hunt hard to find somebody down here at the Capitol that doesn't agree with funding this Medicaid expansion. We know that it's the only fair thing to do, that low-income working families, and particularly state employees, have access to health coverage. There's a way to do it. I think we can do it. I think we will do it. It makes good sense. It's a preventive approach rather than paying on the back end when a person's very sick as a result of not having access to health care.
An estimated 41% of state employees earn less than $25,000 per year, and many say this is not enough to cover the cost of state-sponsored insurance programs. They're looking to the state legislature to help foot the bill. For Lawmakers, I'm Wandy Lawson.
Well, the House today decided that they wanted to give the state Environmental Protection Division more power to regulate septic tank waste disposal. Representative Alan Powell took the well to explain what the bill would do.
What this bill does and what we came to an agreement to make this as simple as it could be, where it could be dealt with, was that EPD will be in control of any site where there's multiple trucks or multiple pickups where they dump this waste. And the Department of Public Health will be in charge, and they'll affect the rules and regulations for those that only affect one hauling and pumper truck. What happened in northeast Georgia, ladies and gentlemen, was that we had outside haulers and those septic spreaders that came into Franklin County and also up in Dawson County. Now, the gentleman from Dawson may wish to address that, but I can tell you the issues that hit Franklin County was that a company came in, bought a couple hundred acres of land around homes and around water sources, got a permit as a pumper, and went out and started spraying this septage on top of the ground.
Companies would also have to get permission from the County Board of Commissioners regardless of the number of trucks involved. Some lawmakers were unclear about what kind of waste the bill dealt with, questioning whether septic waste and sludge were the same thing.
Is this about what we commonly refer to as sludge?
No, sir, this is septage. Sludge is handled by EPD in a different section.
It's the same stuff, though, isn't it?
No, sir. Septage is defined as that liquefied stuff that comes out of the septic tanks and or porta potties. Sludge is the stuff that's drug out of the barrel or whatever.
But this is whatever it is, sludge or septic or whatever it is, we're trying to tighten up on it, are we?
Yes, sir.
That's good.
And there was also concern about the effect this bill would have on farmers who use septic waste as a form of fertilizer. Representative Jeff Williams asked Powell if those farmers came under the law.
To the gentleman, well, is it not true that a number of our farmers, sod operations, those things, use this as an alternative fertilizer to increase the efficiency of their operations? Is that not true?
Yes, sir, it is.
Is it not true that this could increase the cost of that operation if a particular county governing agency, would it be a county commission that would have to pass a resolution to allow this to happen?
No, sir. We have drawn this bill with EPD and with the Department of Public Health so that farmers who use it under legitimate, which is defined, that use it for agricultural fertilization, that they can continue to do so if they are a farmer. This only deals with the commercial spreading.
Following debate, the House passed the bill by a vote of 145 to 20.
Lieutenant Governor Mark Taylor helps fight crime, and Governor Barnes aids the fight against cancer, both top issues of the week. But on Thursday, all eyes turned to Booker T. Washington High School in Atlanta, where President Bush announced some plans for education. David Zelski has our weekly review.
On Monday, Lieutenant Governor Mark Taylor held a press conference to present Senate Bill 333. This bill would eliminate the statute of limitations when investigating a crime involving the 7 deadly sins.
To quote a great governor, Governor George Pataki of New York, there is no statute of limitations on pain. There is no statute of limitations on suffering. There should be no statute of limitations on justice.
This bill is considered Step 2 in fighting crime through DNA technology. Step 1 was another one of the Lieutenant Governor's bills. Passed in 2000, Senate Bill 318 allowed DNA screenings on convicted felons to link them to crimes dating back before imprisonment. This legislation has led to over 80 convictions, one made public on Tuesday.
The incident that occurred on April 10th of 1999 was discovered through the use of the DNA data bank at the GBI. And without the GBI's data bank, we would not have been able to make the connection and return an indictment in this case.
On our Monday broadcast, Senate Minority Leader Eric Johnson informed us that 4 minority Georgians, 2 Republican and 2 Democrats, were being allowed to join in the legal case, questioning not only the Senate reapportionment map, but the House and congressional maps as well.
The minority citizens of Georgia now have a seat at the table in the trial on whether or not these plans violate or comply with Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act.
The next day, House Reapportionment Chair Tommy Smith commented on the court's decision, but says it's not a major setback.
Republicans requested an opportunity to present information before the court, and the judge decided to allow that. We're very pleased that the Department of Justice has approved the plan, said they saw no violation of the Voting Rights Act, and we feel this puts us in a strong position going into the trial.
Tuesday morning, Governor Barnes attended a breakfast with the Georgia Breast Cancer Coalition and made a couple of major announcements about aiding the continued fight against cancer.
14 public health agencies and hospitals serving 64 of Georgia's rural counties will receive $1.7 million in state grants for cancer screening and prevention. And with additional matching funds, that total comes to $3.4 million. And I have another exciting announcement to make, and that is the creation of a license tag that will help us fight breast cancer in Georgia.
This is just one of many future advancements that the newly formed Georgia Cancer Coalition plans to make.
There is a new attitude in America today. I'm a proud Republican. Cynthia McKinney and John Lewis and Zell Miller are proud Democrats. Saxby's a proud Republican. Cleveland's a proud Democrat. But first and foremost, we're all proud Americans.
Just one day after the State of the Union address, President Bush made his way to Georgia. Though most of his Union address focused on the fight against terrorism, Thursday's appearance at Booker T. Washington High School centered around education, which has been Governor Barnes' #1 interest since he was sworn in.
Please give teaching a consideration. Please look at teaching. There's no better way to leave a mark, a positive mark on the life of America.
And finally, the Senate welcomes a new member. Attorney Michael Moore won Tuesday's special election runoff for Senate seat 18 in Warner Robins, a seat left open by gubernatorial candidate Sonny Perdue.
I look forward, and I thank you for having me up early so we can get to work and fill the seat. And we thank you very much and look forward to working with each of you. Thank you all very much.
This is just one of the 3 vacant House and Senate seats to be filled this session. For the Lawmakers Weekly Review, I'm David Zelski.
The other 2 special elections are a runoff for House District 16 and the race for Senate Seat 48 in Lawrenceville, both of which are scheduled for February 12th. Each year while the General Assembly is in session, Capitol interns are there to assist during the legislative process. Lawmakers Chrissy Knight has our story.
Under the gold dome of the Capitol, there are many important figures. There's the governor, the Speaker of the House, and the lieutenant governor, the senators and the representatives. And then there are the Capitol interns. Behind every bill passed, every issue debated, hard-working interns are learning the ropes of the legislative process.
I like being behind the scenes and see what's going on. Of course, all the meetings are open, but you would not ordinarily be given the opportunity to see the things that go on here. So I like to know what the average person doesn't know.
From talking to legislators to organizing important documents, the interns learn about many different aspects of the General Assembly. Tiffany Rushton is an intern for the House Judiciary Committee and begins her day gathering calendars and schedules for her department.
I'm very busy on the days that we have committee meetings, which are either 2 to 3 committee meetings a week. I'm in charge of putting together the packets and getting them all prepared, passing them out. I get information, whether it's on a code, on a title, on regulations and everything.
To be selected as a Capitol intern, the student must demonstrate strong leadership and academic abilities. The person is also nominated by their school's political science department.
Dr. Bill Thomas is a political science professor at Georgia State University and is the Capitol's intern director.
I think the legislative intern program is an excellent opportunity for young people to find out whether or not they want to enter the world of politics.
At the end of the program, the interns leave with a unique perspective of what the Capitol is all about. For more information on the internship program, contact Dr. Bill Thomas at wthomas@gsu.edu. Reporting for Lawmakers, I'm Chrissy Knight.
And we couldn't get by without our interns here on Lawmakers. In other news, Governor Roy Barnes proclaimed today to be AmeriCorps Day at the Capitol. Lawmakers Michelle Horton has more.
It's an organization dedicated to providing thousands of service hours to Georgians in need. Established by the National Community Service Act, AmeriCorps helps solve community problems by volunteering in the areas of education, public safety, and other human needs. And today, They were honored as Governor Barnes issued a proclamation.
We're here today in response to the governor today has signed a declaration making February 1st AmeriCorps Day in honor of national service and the service that we're doing across the state of Georgia.
The goal of AmeriCorps as an organization is it's a national movement to really get into things and strengthen our communities from a very hands-on, service-based level.
AmeriCorps Day couldn't have happened at a better time, with the President calling on all Americans during his State of the Union address to volunteer more time to their communities.
Today's event represented over 17 different programs run by AmeriCorps. Programs such as Hands On Atlanta, an organization dedicated to tutoring children in elementary schools. But the volunteering doesn't stop there. From Habitat for Humanity to literacy programs, healthcare to disaster relief, AmeriCorps reaches to every aspect of the community. And it is for this reason that the governor honored them with February 1st, AmeriCorps Day. For Lawmakers, I'm Michelle Horton.
Every day of the General Assembly session, there were many questions asked on the floor of the House. But today may be the first time this particular question was posed. Here is Representative Jeff Williams.
Well, today I ask for your assistance in an effect that will be revolutionary for me. As you consider where you're going to go in your life, and you consider what things matter the most, and you look at those people, and you ask God to give you that direction, well, I believe He has given me that direction. In fact, I believe He has given me a clear path of where I need to go from this point. And so with your assistance and hopefully your encouragement, I would like to ask Miss Suzanne Dreesy, who has been a gift to God to me in the last 6 months, if she would consider becoming my wife. And at the appropriate time, Mr. Speaker, I'd ask your permission to allow her into the chamber so that she can pick up this ring and not change her mind.
Obviously, the answer was yes. Maybe he wasn't asking about a law, but if you think about it, he was asking to enter a legally binding contract. Of course, our best wishes go out to Representative Williams and his fiancée.
Coming up on Monday, the House is expected to finish their debate on the school safety bill and take up several other measures. Among those, a bill that would require people calling in violations to the EPD to provide their name, address, and phone number. And for those of you with access to the Internet, you can watch Lawmakers online. Visit our website at gpb.org. Lawmakers programs are streamed live, then archived on that site every night that we're on the air. Stay tuned now for Georgia Business Report. That's right here on GPTV.
And one final note, the House also passed the bill we told you about yesterday that would create a specialty license plate encouraging people to have their pets spayed or neutered. The money raised from the plates would benefit a statewide animal sterilization program.
And that is our broadcast for this 10th legislative day of the Georgia General Assembly. Thanks for watching. I'm Gerald Bryant.
And I'm Susan Hoffman. From all of us here, good night.